Mount Pleasant Town Council member Paul Gawyrch has been on Town Council for 16 years, and now he's looking forward to the future. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with the councilman one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Paul, it is so good to see you.
It's so good to see you, sir.
I appreciate this.
Glad to finally get this done.
Yes, indeed. Because, we're sitting here in the new Mount Pleasant Town Hall.
It's the second day that they've been in here.
Wow.
Before you got here, I was taking my time trying to figure out where everything was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a beautiful building, though. And it is nice to finally have all the different departments under one roof.
Well, let me take you to some breaking news, because obviously, as you know, the East Cooper Regional Stadium will not be built at the Carolina Park, but instead at the new Wando High School. Tell me, where does your mind go to when you hear that news?
I think that is unfortunate, but I understand that when the school board whittled it down, that was their best chance to move forward and get this done. I have been a proponent of a joint stadium to be built somewhere in the centralized part of the town. We worked on that for some time. It just didn't come to fruition. Whether it was politics, whether it was this issue or that issue, money,
right.
It just whittled itself down. And now we're going to have this beautiful stadium built on the campus of one high school. And I'm not concerned about cross traffic or people moving around the town. All that gets worked out is a Friday night. But it's that image now, because after all these years, Quintin, we're going to get a second high school. All these years, Lucy Beckham High will open up in 2020, and it will. I'm going to make sure of that.
Sure.
But now we're not going to have a stadium at their school, and there's no room for one. There never was room for one. It was never intended to. But they always felt like, and I mean, the administrators at the time always felt like, well, we won't have to get caught up in this situation of one high school having a stadium and one not, because we were going to put it in a centralized area. Didn't happen. All I can say now is march on and get it built.
Let me take you down the street to Ben Sylvia Boulevard. Obviously, there's a debate about the future of the old Channel 4 building, which is right next to the Ben Sylvia Boulevard Bridge. And I know that Linda Page has originally denied development for that particular location many years ago. Even local residents, including Mayor Page, are just not concerned with overcrowding in housing, according to one local television station, but they're concerned with congestion on the roadways, especially on the heavily traveled Ben Sylvia Bridge. Obviously, the developer tried to sue the town of Mount Pleasant, but obviously now they're in mediation after they figured it out. Where do we go from here on that issue?
Well, if I may, I'd like to take you back to over 2 years ago when
Sure.
I was on the planning committee, and that project came before us, and I was very much against it. But we had a unique concept because the zoning was in place, but it was against our comprehensive plan. Our discussions at the time with our legal staff was that we had a good situation, and we voted to deny it from the planning committee that went on to council. And we voted against it, and sure enough, we were sued. And for 2 years now, that process has been going on. The unique part about that lawsuit is that the council members were individually named. Our legal staff were unable to get us removed from the case. They filed a motion, the judge declined it. And that's just an attempt, of course, by the other attorneys to make things as difficult or as aggravating as possible for council members. It wasn't a concern until recently, as we were getting ready to talk about how do we resolve this and not go to court, as we all try to do. This mediation came up, and then all of a sudden the statement came out that now council members were personally liable and their assets were liable. To me, sir, that means that's a conflict. Well, if you hold that over my head and you ask me to vote on it, I can't do that. So maybe you didn't know, while I always voted against this project, on Tuesday night I recused myself because now I was conflicted. Now, I can't speak for the other council members. They all were listed too. They were all named. I was conflicted. It left 7 council members, and it passed 4-3. Where do we go from here as far as roads in that section? To help answer your question, it's going to be more challenging than it was. I mean, for someone like myself, as you well too, Quintin, if you grew up here, you already know that what the chamber's been saying for the past 5-6 years, that over 40 people a day are coming to the Tri-County area. They are, because I've gone to the beach in March with my dog and the beach was packed. And I'm like, yes, exactly, wow. So there's only so many roads to the beach. We can't do anything about that. There's only so much of a beach. It's just going to come down to you need to go sooner and get you a place and then head back home. And for those, you're going to have to find something else to do. It's the perils of becoming known as a wonderful place to live as Charleston and Mount Pleasant are.
Right. I want to take you to Brian Hicks' column because obviously he said he said this quote, and this is the headline: "Nasty politics trickle down to a one Pleasant town." Obviously, you the longest serving Mount Pleasant Town Council member from 1995 to now. Where did the nasty politics come from in your mind?
That's a great question, and you know, I'm wrapping up 16 years over a 22-year span. When I did come on in '95, I had a void between '98 and 2002, and then I took another break 11 to 13. I was actually mayor pro tem for 2 years. But me, and I thought about it for a while because I don't mind when people say things about me. I signed up. Now, if they're not honest, I correct them.
Okay.
But if they want to talk about my character, those types of things, you know, I get that. But I started becoming concerned about what's triggering people to be this way, because we live in such a wonderful place, and they're mad, and it's just disappointing. I equate it to social media. In all my years of service, the past 3 years, the social media whereby people are not held accountable, they have a keyboard 24/7, and basically they are bullies online. And again, I will tell you this, I serve because I thoroughly enjoy being held accountable. Matter of fact, it gives me a rush, but I also in turn think others should be held accountable. So to help answer your question, I think a lot of this, we lost some civility and decorum in our chambers with a lot of help of social media. I mean, social media can be a wonderful thing. It can be, but it's also contagious, either wonderful or for bad.
Sure.
And Facebook, they know that. They've done studies. I don't know what it means for the future. I can tell you that every town administrator or city administrator in this state and every other state is trying to figure out how to get their arms around it. I mean, look, it goes all the way up to the presidential election as far as social media. Where's it all going, Quintin? I don't know.
And you know, obviously, this is another issue too. But this was in the Mutual News, I believe, 10 hours ago. The headline reads: "Single-member district ballot question shot down 63." What does 63 tell you, Paul?
Well, that's a great question because it doesn't tell you it doesn't tell the whole story. For example, I am a big proponent in allowing the citizens of this town to determine where they want to go next, as with their form of government or their method of election. Okay, that means, because I'm a big fan of a full-time mayor, it's time. Not to be like Charleston or North Charleston, but you talk about holding accountable. Now, if you have a full-time CEO, they are calling the shots. Now you've got a staff that can respond accordingly. You already have a tremendous staff, but things change every week. But back to your initial question, if the process had been vetted more detailed, more involved, followed a committee, it didn't look like it was trying to be rushed through, they may have had a better vote. But back to me, I was clear. I don't have a problem allowing the people to go to referendum to vote. But single-member districts in this town of 85,000 without a full-time mayor would be a step backwards. So I did not support and do not and will not support single-member districts by themselves. Doesn't mean I'm trying to hold anybody hostage. Doesn't mean I'm holding out for me. But I've been around enough to know what I think is best. Going to a full-time mayor with districts.
You say that you're going to wrap up 16 years here at Mount Pleasant in the town council. Write the headline: "What's next for Paul Gawyrch?"
That's a great question too. What's next for Paul Gawyrch? Because I have absolutely enjoyed my service, except for the past couple of years, and that's a joke because I will say this, and I said it Tuesday night at the council meeting. The 16 years, because the way it's designed, we are part-time public servants. We have an incredible administrator and staff that do the day-to-day stuff. And there's no way as a part-time public servant. We set policy, we vote on budgets. I can't, that joy started to leave a couple years ago, the public service, because it became political. I'm not a good politician. Now, anybody can do that. It's scary though. I think the devil rubs his palms in reception of people that want to be something else they're not. And that's just my belief.
Right.
So for the public service, it's come to an end. What does it mean the next step for Paul Gawyrch? Right now, I have a lot in front of me.
Okay.
My wife and I just celebrated 29 years of marriage, our 2 children. Our son is almost a dentist. Our daughter just graduated. So right now, we're not going to be selfish, but we're going to spend the next couple of years focused on Paul Gawyrch. How about that?
That's a good thing.
We get to do that every now and then.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, God, are you going to run for mayor one day?
That's a great one too. Since 2006, I've had so many people tell me that I was running for mayor, yet I never said I was running for mayor.
Right.
Even my dear friend Billy Swales, I still give him a hard time.
Yeah.
When he was mayor and I was mayor pro tem,
Right.
and he was stepping down, he said, "I think the next logical choice is Paul Gawyrch." He didn't check with me when he said that, but I knew what he was doing. It's okay. Just because I say that I am for a full-time mayor,
Right.
they all go, "Oh, he's got an agenda. He's up to something." I have no interest in being the mayor.
Okay.
If later on in life, if we have a system where it's a full-time mayor, I would definitely take a look at it. But I don't foresee that happening anytime soon, to where I'll be young and energetic enough to give it what it needs to be given. So until then, to serve now in this part-time capacity and honor the good Lord and your family and your business and hold things together in this town, to me, you can't do it.
I understand that. Well, Paul Gawyrch, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Oh, listen, I'm just so glad you finally found me. You know? I'm just that hard-working council member that's always behind the scenes, focused on, and I do.
Yes.
I do. And, I focus on infrastructure,
Right.
parks and recreation, and education.
Yes, right.
And I would pass on to any new folks coming in. You can't do it all. Grab 2 or 3 things, focus on them, and hope the others do the other things.
Thank you for this.
It's an honor, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that.